IVM.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of the Geek Food Podcast with me, Tejas, and this week, Jishnu. Hi,
hello,
Jishnu.
Hello.
Good day.
Good evening. No, it's good day.
No,
I'm still.
we're both in Bombay.
But I'm still in yesterday. It's very early.
You're still in yesterday sounds like the title of another short round song.
Chalo then. I'll write
Okay,
it
cool.
in my past. I don't even know. It's too early for this.
Speaking
tell me
of
things.
past,
Bol.
okay, that's my segue for today. Speaking of past,
So
everything is allowed.
Great. So here we go. So you had a great episode on a YouTube show called An Auditorium with Dinkar last week, which was about
Thank you.
the goings on with one J.K. Rowling. And
So it's rolling, and I keep saying Rowling.
Rolling?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Like Fred Durst told us to do. So,
Oh, God. You
I
invoked Fred Durst before Bob Dylan, but yes.
yeah, I didn't know the specifics about the deal because I took like a good 3 weeks off social media and it was
Right.
nice and quiet and
Man,
life was good.
I envy you.
And
Yeah.
all I knew was that there was some things happening and that people were unhappy. And I was like, that's great. Don't tell me anything. And so then I saw the episode and it was great. And I learned some things about her, which, are less than kosher. But what I wanted to talk about was a little tidbit about your guys' personal experience with the Potterverse, which is, I remember Dinkar specifically saying that it was the first 4 books that he read very avidly, right? Or rather, very quickly, if nothing else, which I think is true for me too. And it's true for, I think, a lot of people because they're A, very easy reads, and 2, they are really good.
Yeah.
And it just happened that after 4 books, for one reason or another, because you guys landed on, I think you said because you guys were college aged or something like that, or just work started or whatever it was, you kind of tapered off with how quickly you were willing to, or rather how much time you were willing to put into it. I don't even know. Like the urgency just kind of like disappeared. And that's what I found interesting because that got me thinking about the fact that we at Geek Fruit, it's no secret, talk about a lot of childish things, if not specifically things from our childhood, right? Because like
And we are also childish.
And yeah, I mean,
while we talk about
it's one thing to like consume new media that's coming out right now, which is clearly catered towards kids, which we are far more excited about than most kids. But I want to talk about the specific things in our life that we, for one reason or another, at some pubescent point in our life, decided was not so either cool or not as relevant or whatever, just lost its sense of urgency. Which, because I mean, I know that we keep going back to old stuff all the time, but you got to admit, there's always going to be something that you're more willing to get back into with more enthusiasm than others. Like, for instance, I'll give you my example. To begin with, going on the heels of our other show on YouTube, Crossover Event, where we interview a bunch of different guests about things that they love, they bring us the topic, right? So we interviewed Warren Mendonca, and he talked about He-Man, which I was super into. I was really into it as a kid. But I mean, I'm talking like genuinely 6-7 years old, like really, really small.
Nice.
But for those few years, I was really, really into it. And so it was cool to go back and look at it again. And I was like, wow, there's so much He-Man on YouTube. It's all out there for free pretty much. So that's great. I can watch as much as I want. And so in prep for that show, I thought, cool, I'm going to take a couple of hours and binge like, I don't know, a handful of episodes. I couldn't get through more than like 2 because it was bizarre and it was cool. And I was like, oh, wow, this is
I
lulz.
completely understand. I get why.
Now, you tell me why. Because it's hard for me to put a finger on it.
Well, I don't know. So just now that you've introduced this entire topic, I still want to add a few caveats to what you said. One, at least on the Harry Potter front. To be fair, I was a very big Harry Potter nerd when I was in school. And so much so that I preceded And yes, so you've heard this first here exclusively. Pottermore. You know what Pottermore is, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so Pottermore was, used to bridge the gap with the fans and the community that was engaging with the books, but because books are very one-way medium, and I'm just gonna wait for Jishnu to pick up whatever you dropped,
I dropped a
which
Crash
was
Bandicoot.
an insanely hot take
A
on
Crash
He-Man.
Bandicoot Funko Pop.
Wow, you have a Crash Bandicoot Funko Pop.
Yeah, we bought it together at Comic-Con.
Yeah, that's so nice. Okay, yeah, so Harry Potter, I preceded that because my friend Aaron Gomes and I made this a Harry Potter like basically it was the story of the book, but you have to take part in it by solving puzzles and stuff like that.
So
when
choose your own
Hermione,
class, choose your own.
well, for example, it's like one of those like exercise books where it'll have like a crossword puzzle or like or something like that.
Oh my god!
Like those
I thought you meant fucking exercise, like like ready,
no, not
okay,
exercise.
Add up,
no,
and
no,
two,
like
and
notebook,
three.
like ruled notebook, single line.
Right.
Sheaf,
yes,
whatever.
Yes. Rough books.
So rough book, yeah. So we made these books out of the first Philosopher's Stone and Chamber of Secrets, and we did all of that, and I was really into it. But and yes, I was into it until the last book came out, and then after that, I did kind of completely drop off Harry Potter. So that's one important thing, and I will make a caveat to this entire episode's theme, which is like shows and things that stuff that we grew out of, right? There is a huge caveat here because there's a lot of things you're right we don't grow out of because we are very into things, and I'd say that there are things that I grew out of but I have returned to because they've had a reboot in some form or fashion over the last decade or so since nerds have kind of come out of their shell and things like that, and business is booming for that industry. So yeah, there are things. Having said that, I think here's why you didn't like He-Man. I think He-Man is really, really well, there are two reasons. One is He-Man, and the second is you. The first thing is He-Man being very, not childish, but it is too bizarre for you to take seriously and watch alone as a serious show. You have to either be with friends or be like stoned or drunk or whatever to enjoy it from a very silly point of view. Mm-hmm. And here's the second reason, Jishnu, you are a silly guy. But when you're alone, you're very pensive, like a Harry Potter device itself. And so when you are watching something for a work perspective, specifically He-Man, because we were doing prep for that episode, you must have tried to be Jishnu about it and be contemplative about what is the meaning of the show.
Well,
and when you could find none.
Someone said, stop trying to be who the world is telling you to be who you are. Rene Russo.
Absolutely.
Isn't that the line?
Stop being who you're trying to be who you really are.
Yeah. There you
go.
Yes. Okay. That.
So that's why, Jishnu, it's a combination of He-Man and you, man.
Well, yes, exactly. The Me-Man and the He-Man have to be in sync. If the Me-Man is not in sync with anything, then it all goes for a toss. But so that's what I'm.
So He-Man is that what you're saying?
What?
That He-Man is a show that you completely grew out of. Now tell me something. When you watched the show recently, now to do to do the episode, whatever. When you watched the show recently, did you feel any kind of what was the nostalgia thing for you? Or did you have it? Did you?
Yes. The nostalgia was like, oh wow, like I remember this type of whatever storytelling with the weirdness of it all. And I remember like the particular, tics of these characters and the quirks and whatnot. I was like, all right, he does that thing. But to go further pensive up in this mother, I suppose when I was watching it by myself, much like most things nostalgic, I tend to sort of think of it as like a song. Everything, even if it's not a
I'm ready. Yeah. With some musical suggestions also.
Like for instance, like the fact that, nothing really hits us quite as hard, I think, the first time you see an old show or an old whatever it is, like the soundtrack, especially if there's a theme song.
Nice.
The minute you hear, like literally musically speaking, the minute you hear the song doesn't change unless they've readapted the song and like Kali Ray tries to, abuse my Full House song. But apart from that,
I love Kali Ray Jepsen. I'm just saying, putting it out there.
That's nice. But you didn't obsess over the original like I did. Therefore, you don't have the same sentiment towards it, like right. So the thing is, yeah, when I hear the He-Man theme song, I'm going, holy crap, I remember this. Yeah, like it sounds the same and I feel the same feels. But then the show begins and then it's only those handful of lines where they say the same thing with the same cadence that I remember, or, the same rhythm of the show repeats itself. That's what excites me. But then when I'm watching a brand new, like I did with this time around, since I was, I only grew up with a handful of VHSs that I did. I realized now that I was only watching a small number of episodes on repeat because that's what life in the 90s was like, right? And
right.
And so I got to know those episodes really well. So I was watching these being like, so when's he going to say he's not, that was only in that one thing. Oh my God. And so then I'm watching the show for the first time, like with a new perspective and a new episode. I'm going, okay,
there are a lot of episodes of He-Man, out there actually.
Yeah, and it's like, so there's nothing terribly familiar. Like the familiarity was gone beyond because, like, I'm not going back to the show for the damn visuals or whatever. I'm not going back to it for the, the thrill, rip-roaring time. So, yeah.
Nice. Okay, so nice plug also for our show Crossover Event, which is on YouTube. Please check it out. It's with Warm and Dancer, Black Star Blues, whatever. And there are a bunch of other episodes. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to hit you with a musical one, and your mind is going to be blown. That's all.
Hey everybody, welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Paytm Money and Intel. Their support makes this content possible. So, been a really exciting week on the network this week. We've had some really cool stuff. My old friend Vivek Lad was on Storytellers and Storysellers. Definitely do check that out. On Cyrus Said, we had Ashwin Sanghi on Thursday's episode, and Cyrus and myself did a cock and bull, just the two of us. That was fun as well on Monday. Do check that out. Masaba was on Advertising is Dead, which was another really, really strong episode from Varun. And on the sports front, both Edges and Sledges, Football Shitball had some really fun episodes. As the Football Twaddle, do check those out as well. And if you haven't been paying attention and you haven't been listening to Smile India in these times, I don't know why you aren't. It's the most uplifting show that you could listen to. It's a short, bite-sized piece of really positive things that happen in India. Do definitely check that out. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
Hey, we're back. We're talking about stuff that we grew out of, which is a rare thing for us to do, because even the things that I grew out of, I seem to want to come back into it whenever I'm reminded of it as an adult. Notably, since you were talking about the theme song, I was watching the new DuckTales, and when I say new, it's been a few years since it's come out. There are about 3 seasons now.
Oh, damn!
I'm somewhere halfway through the first season. So it's got like this all new cast, completely new animation. It's a reboot of the original show, and obviously it does a lot more character study, as much as you can do in an animated show. But yeah, man, so even though it's got an amazing cast, including like, David Tennant as Scrooge McDuck. It's got Ben Schwartz as Huey, Bobby Monahan as Louie, and Abid from Community. What's his name? I can't remember right now. But he's Louis? I want to say that they're interchangeable.
Okay.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. And Webby is also there in the show. Sure. And like, it's funny and it's really good. And the animation is so nice. But the theme song, and we performed it recently at our last Halloween show. So we know that song, intimately, yes. Yeah. And one of my favorite things about that song is like in the chorus when he goes, ooh, it has like a nice harmony, and that harmony is missing, or something has changed about it's really slick, the production, and it's like really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was missing that, and I was just like, but it more than makes up for it with the show. It's really nice and it's really good. So that was one thing. But here's my actual thing that I grew out of. And I know technically it's not, because I found it so difficult, Jishnu, to find one thing that I've grown out of like completely. There are very few things. But here's my thing. Metallica. All right. Metallica is, and it's sad, but true, that I feel free to drop any more references to songs. But yeah, man, I was a huge Metallica fan in school. And in 10th grade specifically, I carved the word Metallica into my wooden desk with my compass from my compass box.
Oh, yeah, we all did. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, Metallica. And suddenly one day my friends were just like, this. when do you like Metallica so much? I was like, I don't know. I guess I do. And I remember it was the first song I ever learned how to play on the guitar was the second part of Fade to Black.
Nice.
So the first few things I learned on the guitar. I think it may have been the first thing I learned on the bike because, of course, the first thing everybody learns how to play on the guitar is Nothing Else Matters. But yeah, man, I was a huge Metallica fan. Those first 3 albums, Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All. Like, actually, those 4, sorry. Super huge into it. In fact, I was such a big fan of Ride the Lightning, especially the song Ride the Lightning. I still stand by this today. That and Aces High by Iron Maiden have 2 of the best guitar solos of all time.
Oh,
Boom.
for sure.
Take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what's why do you find yourself growing out of it?
So now here's the thing. Obviously, I feel like music is something that I've grown out of a lot more than I have than like movies and comic books and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Music, for me, because we both play music and stuff like that, obviously we've all had like influences that have just been so varied and weird. I remember, so Metallica may have been, my first phase was Elvis in school. Then my second phase was, or shall I call it movement? My second movement was Metallica. And then I moved so drastically from that into jazz music, like, not like pop jazz, like Michael Franks and Michael Bublé, Harry Connick Jr., things like that. And I was trying to be a singer in school. So it was not, it wouldn't like bode well for me to kind of just try and sing like James Hetfield. I had to try and sing like the voice that I had. And obviously it leaned more towards like this whole pop jazz thing. And then I grew out of that also. But I do remember performing How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You by Otis Redding. I think it's Otis Redding. In high school, in the high school music competition. And then I lost to my friend Anish, who sang with Arms Wide Open by Creed. That's what I lost.
Yes.
Otis Redding lost to Scott Stapp. So it's something he still holds over me.
Did you ever watch MTV's Celebrity Deathmatch?
Of course.
That sounds like a great episode. Scott
Well,
Stapp
that's something I definitely grew out of. MTV.
Well, I want to, before we move on to MTV, because that's a friggin' podcast on its own, MTV. But, no, but what specifically with the Metallica, clicked for you now? Because I think, didn't we just talk about Metallica, like not just a couple of months ago? Somehow, I think it somehow came up. And we were like, yeah, we were talking about this album and that album, whatever. Because like I actually was just listening to Metallica not even less than a week ago. Yeah. I think I just found myself somehow just on a kick listening to Reload, I think. And
nice.
Yeah, I mean,
nice reference, dog.
I can totally see reasons for why you, especially knowing your sensibilities, why you would not stick with them. But I'm curious, like, if you can pinpoint anything in particular.
Well, I think one is just the musical prowess of the band is something that was far beyond my reach for sure. Like, I would love to, like, let me not, completely say I'm out of it in the sense that if Metallica were to perform in Bombay,
yeah, I mean that's like me, saying I can watch an episode of I can totally watch a few episodes of He-Man, but like you said, because I consume TV and film in a particular way in the pensive fashion, that type of cinema of He-Man is not for me, man. But in that vein, like I don't think I wouldn't buy that just because of the prowess of Metallica is something that puts you off, because you listen to plenty of things that beyond your prowess, but that's not the reason to like or not like it.
Let me put it this way. Like, maybe it's also the direction in which the band went. Like, I love Saint Anger, even though people don't like it. But like, I mean, I just kind of like, I really like the old stuff that they had. I'm just like acting like a complete musical
that is
guy.
Totally fair. See, that's like saying, yeah, I can't watch He-Man, or saying I can watch He-Man, but I can only watch the original. Like, well, yeah, nobody's watching the reboot. Nobody's watching the freaking live action Dolph Lundgren movie. That's
exactly. Like, no. Let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. Like, I think the ethos of the band is something that I phased out of. Like, like I love Metallica, like not ironically as much, but But like, yeah, for example, like if in my YouTube algorithm, I like if like a live version of Creeping Death just popped up on my timeline, I would 100% watch it, dude. Like, and now and then I see like a clip here and then. I'm like, oh, what are the boys up to now?
Yeah.
You know, and of course I indulge, but yeah, like I'm not into it. Like, you know, like I won't, you know, like for us, like buying merch, being part of that culture is very important, especially when you're a nerd. Buying into the culture is everything. And for me, it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna, like, you know, watch another Metallica documentary just yet. You know, like, you know, like I'm not gonna get into it like so hardcore like I used to. Like, I'm not as much, like I completely phased out of that vibe. But I was very into it at one point in time. And like it did teach me a lot of things. So
cool.
No regrets. Like the one thing I would probably go and watch, which I haven't watched yet. Tell me, Jishnu, if this rings a bell. But remember S&M, the greatest musical DVD show of all time?
Are you saying, should you watch it again? I 100% think you should.
No. So there's an S&M 2, which is, okay, an S&M for people to know, Symphony and Metallica, which is was conducted by the late, great Michael Kamen, who also did X-Men. So boom, crossover event. But Michael Kamen, you know, conducted this entire sweeping score of just, you know, Metallica's music. And they opened with the Ecstasy of Gold, which is like one of the greatest pieces, cinematic, like musical pieces. And then they go directly into, like, I think, I want to say they go into, what's right after that? What's the first song off the bat that they do? I want to say it's Call of Cthulhu, my favorite song from Ride the Lightning. But yeah, so that's me, man. Like, that's what I kind of grew out of, a lot. I'm still a fan. Like, you know, I listen to that old stuff, but, I can't go back, Jishnu. I can't go back and be that person again.
Totally fair. That's what this episode's about.
Great.
Let's take a break.
Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back and Jishnu's going to tell us what he has grown out of.
Beta, did you know 79% of all scientists in NASA are Indian only?
देखो, इंडिया में टैक्स सिर्फ मिडिल क्लास भरती है. Everyone is just enjoying free यार.
आजकल के youngsters are only interested in partying and enjoying. उनको देश की पड़ी ही नहीं है.
बेटा तुम बस शादी कर लो, उसके बाद तो you can enjoy life like anything.
I will tell you what this country needs. This country needs 15 years of dictatorship. That is the only way to become a superpower. See the Chinese, how much they've progressed.
सुनो, तुमने ये WhatsApp forward देखा?
So what's common between all of these statements?
They're all absolutely rubbish.
Fake WhatsApp forwards that spread like wildfire.
And statements that defy any logic.
We are here to debunk them all.
Way of family WhatsApp groups, worst nightmare. Where what happens when you read a book.
Basically, we're just a bunch of guys who want to cut through the bullshit of everyone saying this, how it won't be true.
So that the next time someone confidently squeezes out some WhatsApp or Twitter BS, you can look them dead in the eye and go, Uncle, please sit.
So join me, Joel.
And me, Tushar.
Every Mondays for a fresh new episode of Uncle, Please Sit.
Hey everybody, we're back. We're talking about things we left in the fire. Is that the name of a movie?
Sure.
I think so. I don't know. I know it's the title of a film.
Check Vimeo. Yeah. It'll be there. So Jishnu and I are talking about things that we liked a lot as kids. And then a very, very unlike us, we kind of let go of that and moved on, which is something we're not very famous for. And yet, here we are talking about it. Jishnu, tell me, what did you let go of? What were you a fan of that you this is
now
not,
are not?
Not from my past, not from my long past, from my very, very, very recent past that I
I already know. I think I already know. But yeah, please go ahead.
The date was November 2nd, 2018. You guys
remember?
You guys I had to look it up. I assume you...
How do you know when you stopped?
No, not when I stopped. When I knew I heard the first death knell and I was like, I will not believe this to be the death knell. But then I started watching it through and I was like, wait a minute. I hear them bells again. These bells are tolling, and I'm not going to stick around for this swan song. I got, I think, 5 episodes into it, maybe 6 episodes out of 8. And I just looked it up. I did sit and totally legally download the entire season. And I never watched all of it because I was like, wait, did I even finish getting it? Yes, I totally got all of them. And I chose not to finish watching it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Don't look it up.
I'm just thinking.
Wait,
I mean, I'm confused.
do you know exactly? I know. What am I talking about?
I thought you were talking about something else. Wait,
what do you think I'm talking about?
The first thing I thought you were going to talk about was Contest of Champions. Then the second thing I thought, Then the second thing I thought you were going to talk about was, I thought it was going to be an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. thing. But anyway, of course you'll never die. You'll die on that hill, I say.
Yeah.
No, so wait, what is it then?
November 2nd, 2018. What a year to be alive. Infinity was just around the corner. Or was it?
It had dropped.
It had dropped.
It dropped.
Yeah. Yeah, come on.
Justice? No, not Justice.
Justice
League.
League.
Is it?
I'll give you a hint. You are close with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You're very close.
So it must be a Marvel show.
It's so close, in fact, you could say well, I don't want to say more. Go on, this is a great game. I love this game.
Did we go and watch this in the theater together?
Yes, we did.
No.
You guys were 10 minutes late.
We do not speak of this day, dude. We don't speak of this show.
You guys were 10 minutes late into a 50-minute movie. And you were 10 minutes late.
That was a TV show.
Because you didn't give a shit. And you shouldn't have given enough of a shit to humor me.
And we were right. Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, of course, there's lots of ambiguity here for people listening.
What is
but
it?
This is, let me also, just preamble this by saying that we do not, this is a he who shall not be named kind of show. Marvel has had some duds. This may be the mother of all duds. In fact, they've kind of just, it's disappeared without a effing trace, huh? It must be on Disney Plus.
It's still in S.H.I.E.L.D. The trace is they're relevant.
Not the threads of...
Not these particular people, but their breed. Their breed make up the main cast.
Tell me something, Jishnu.
Yeah.
I remember when you, days of yore, when you used to talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and try and catch me up, you would say that, okay, cool, because mutants are not available on in the world. This is prior to Disney acquiring 20th Century Fox and the rights to X-Men and the word mutant and things like that. So they tried to, the word is subsidize.
One word,
so they did that by trying to kind of, have the same thing, which is like a breed of, or like a creed of people who had, this special kind of abilities and had different kind of mutations and blah, 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 without saying that. And they termed them as Inhumans.
Yep.
And because of that, they were like, wow, Inhumans has got some crazy potential. Let's cast some people, but mostly that guy from Game of Thrones.
Yep.
Instead, here's a wild idea. This is a pitch meeting. Here's a wild idea. Let's do the show. We'll make a TV show. But because we're really not sure about how well it is, we have zero confidence in ourselves. We won't make it a movie, but we won't make it a TV show either. It's one cheek on the chair, as I say.
Yeah.
They released the first 2 episodes in IMAX.
Yeah.
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 It was the Inhumans, and wow. Oh my God, that was bad. So it's not technically something you grew out of. It's like, we didn't even grow into it to grow out of it.
I was super hyped. I would love to, at some point in time.
Well, yeah, technically
I'm gonna go
watched
back.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so.
I'm going to get such a kick out of going back and sifting through our podcast and finding some episode or the other that's leading right up to it. Because I'm sure, I definitely would have talked a lot about it leading up to it. Because at the time, pre, Disney buying over Fox, the Netflix verse was the only thing we had that was a significant TV universe. And S.H.I.E.L.D. was, as it's always been, it's just been that sort of unloved bastard child. And so I was super excited at the thought of having some, actual continuity that ties things in and it's inclusive, because right when Inhumans came out, I want to say it was the 3rd or 4th season of S.H.I.E.L.D., something like that. And that's right when the Inhumans in S.H.I.E.L.D. were just coming into their own. Because at the moment, we're in the final season now, there are only maybe a month or 6 weeks left. It's still completely spearheaded by the two Inhumans in the thing. If those Inhumans weren't there to be, superheroes, then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would have been they would have died off years ago, because they always come in and do that Inhuman thing. So they don't name drop the word anymore, I think, because they're let's just They're gifted. Just call them gifted. They're like, whatever. Or don't even say anything, because it's like, we've been playing this game for so long now, people don't need to be told what a superhero is. So they've just kind of like completely brushed it aside.
That's so
and it's
funny.
all about, and it's just all about Coulson, which is
Man, they won't be able to touch that IP for a while, huh? Man, it's crazy.
Man. Yeah.
So anyway, there was this video on YouTube.
I basically grew into it, and I grew out of it even faster.
We quickly.
Yeah.
We grew out of it while watching it. Like it grew out of us in front of our very eyes. Man, I saw this video on YouTube, which I was very tempted to click, which was, I think, a Screen Crush or what is that? Screen Crush or Looper or whatever. And the title of the video was, "We finally know Agent, as in Clark Gregg's character, Agent Coulson's entire arc now and what happened to him and all that stuff." And I was very tempted to click it and watch it. Yeah. But I don't know why. I just like, maybe one day I'll actually watch the show. And I was just like, no.
No, you won't.
Yeah, I know, I probably won't.
You will never.
But I'll probably watch this video though, and find out what happened.
I mean, I'm gonna have my freaking swan song episode with probably Ankit Dayal, because he's the only other guy I know that actively wants
No, Rohan Joshi also
Rohan has also offered. But proof is Ankit, who's a DM on a D&D game, just binged 3 seasons, I think.
Oh my God.
In the span of a week. And at the end of it, he said, I don't know why I did that. But that's the thing of the show.
I get it, dude. I have that relationship with so many shows.
Exactly.
Dude. I don't know why.
You of all people, I think if you decided to, you would be exactly where I'm at.
This is why I didn't watch it, Jishnu. You know I would watch a show like this.
Exactly. That's this. Here is the different
and I
between
have
you and
also,
me.
by the way, I've
you
already
have
seen
100 shows that you do this for. I have 2. And so you just haven't, for some reason our Venn diagrams haven't crossed on this, and I think it's
I'll tell you what, Jishnu,
for the podcast. Cool, let's just keep it that way.
I will do this. I will watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when Dinkar watches Rebels, and when you watch fucking Clone Wars. Oh my God,
I will get there. That's a whole other thing, because that's like.
How is that different?
No, because
I know that is required. That's required reading.
It's like doing Hajj. It's like that's my day. So if I have to do seasons of Clone Wars, then it's like literally go to fucking Mecca, get a return ticket, and all this ding dong. That's an excursion in itself, man. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I will 100% do it. It's just that I'm off the heels of a Mandalorian binge, and then I just saw the whole Disney Plus BTS of Star Wars, of the making of Mandalorian. So my Star Warsisms is still.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I will say there's some exciting stuff. Man, you should finish that, because now onwards, I think from August, they're starting this new phase of Star Wars. I'm sure you've seen the trailer for this thing called Star Wars: The High Republic, which is a bunch of publication stuff that is a new arc for public. It's set 200 years before.
Yeah, is it
Federation.
Novels or comics?
So it's a transmedia, yeah. So it's going to be a few books, and it's starting with this comic in August. So I'm pretty excited about that. And they said they might, if it does well, they'll expand that to maybe Disney Plus, mostly maybe like small video games, things set in the High Republic. So super excited about that.
Also, best crossover in the world, Jedi Temple Challenge.
Jedi Temple Challenge.
What's not to love?
It's 5 episodes in now, yeah?
Yeah.
I've seen 3. We'll catch up. So good. Excellent show. All right, cool. Let us wrap it up here. Let us know in the emails, guys. Send us mails. We want to hear from you. Contact geekfruit@gmail.com. Tell us what other things that you were really into but are not anymore. And it's kind of sad, but it's also kind of allowed you to get into other things because of the time that you now have. And let us know that, or you can find us in the comments. And we will see you next week, you nerds. Bye, Jishnu.
Toodaloo.
Namaskar, dear Bandhu. My name is Ashish Vidyarthi. These are truly challenging times, and in these times, we need hope. Do take time to listen to my podcast, Begin the Journey. Available on IVM Podcasts, website, app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, there is hope, because there's one life and we are alive.
Filter coffee is a fascinating beverage. You need to pick the right beans, blend them in the right proportion, roast them to perfection, and slow brew at the right temperature to get the perfect cup. Which is exactly like great conversations as well. You need to track down the most interesting minds, get them into their zone, and settle down for an unhurried, unscripted chat. And coffee for me is always, always, always best enjoyed with friends. I'm Karthik Nagarajan, and do share my table as I meet some of the most interesting people I know and sit them down for a strong cup of coffee and an even stronger conversation. Join me every Wednesday for a freshly brewed episode. This is not frappe. This is the Filter Coffee Podcast.